All right, everybody, how are you doing? It's 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Pacific time. We are now live. What's up, Carlos? So tonight, as everyone knows who's kind of caught stuff, we're going to go ahead and talk to John from InkPark. It's going to be super casual and just find out, what he likes to do, his favorite designs, kind of stuff like that. If you have any questions that you want to ask him, please feel free to, post it up in the chat. I'll post it up so he can see it and, hopefully get him to answer some questions, maybe ask him some hard stuff so that he put him on the spot. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring John in.
What's up?
You're live, my friend.
What's up? How's it going, man?
Not too bad, not too bad. How are things?
Good, man. Just drawing away.
Staying busy?
Oh, yeah,
like
man.
always?
Like always, bro. You know how it is. It's that hustle game.
I've been lacking, man. I've been lacking. I haven't been as busy as I should be, but trying to get these designs done and work on my own stuff and trying to do some favors for some friends. I mean, paid favors, but favors nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure.
Trying to get my name out there and some work done. Try to be like John. Man.
Do you do work outside of this? Do you have like a 9 to 5, or is this what you do?
No,
Okay.
This is just a little side thing. Yeah, I definitely have a full-time job, so it makes it a little bit difficult, right? Just trying to come up with ideas and going through sketching is really hard during the day because I'm busy, and then when I'm off, I don't want to, like, the last thing on my mind is sketching.
Yeah, so, no. If I did a 9 to 5, I wouldn't be able to do the amount of work that I do. So
yeah, it's tough. It's tough squeezing in your own stuff, right? But you add other people's stuff in there and it becomes increasingly difficult. So
yeah, and I do 90% of other people's stuff.
Yeah. Well, I see on Instagram all the time, man, you're crazy busy throwing up stuff and just throwing your designs out there, and it's pretty dope, honestly.
Yeah, that's part of it, man. I mean, it's free advertisement. So, I try to strategically place, put post up there when people are looking at Instagram, East Coast, West Coast, or wherever it may be. And it works, man. I mean, I got a Disney contract from Instagram. So, yeah. So, I mean, that's just the hustle that you have to do. And the more you post, the better odds of you landing that freelance project or vice versa, So, because this is what I do. This is my 9 to 5. So,
right. Well, and I mean, I dig your stuff, all the stuff that you do. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the other.
Watch both. Yeah.
Yes, on when I was talking to Carlos on Sunday. I was just kind of admiring, and I think even before the episode before, when I was talking about the unoriginality of some of the designers and the stuff that's going on right now, when you do your designs, like your play on things that are existing or cartoons or whatever, like you can totally tell what your spin is.
That and you'll probably agree with me, that all came from just loving graffiti.
Right.
A graffiti artist would get out there and he put his spin on Yogi the Bear or something like that. And you were just like, dude, that's fire. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's being more original, even though they're taking existing content, but you're like, hey, how could I make that mine?
Right.
How could I make that? I mean, the LA Mamba I'm not the first one to do it. And I think I've done this one like 3 times, different versions of it. But what can you do differently that everyone else isn't doing? Or, what can you add to it? For instance, a lot of the I love the art you do, the Mexican culture side of that. So you kind of turned me on to more of looking into that, and then going, how could I make that like me? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because you have a very unique style. The golden one that just released not too long ago, man, that was just fire. Um,
Oh, thank
but
you.
like you have like this specific style, but I was like, I like what he does. Be influenced by it. Don't don't take. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was funny. Yours Jaguar Nights came out, and I had already done a Jaguar Nights. I think like a month or two before that, but I was just sitting on it, and I was like, man, I ain't even gonna show anybody. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I don't want people to be like, oh, look at this, or no, that was your time to shine, and that design was so dope. But there again, like you did that specific one, and I was like, man, that's cool. But
Yeah.
even before I had seen it, you had already influenced me enough to look into that kind of stuff, to be like, oh, that's dope. You know what I mean?
No, I appreciate that. I don't think that there's anything wrong with people touching on the same subjects. I think
Oh,
it's important that people do take something from everybody and come up with their own stuff. But I think I addressed it in the first episode when I was talking about people just taking and not even changing it to be their own, right? Like it's too it and I should have done a better job of kind of putting them side by sides. Maybe that's something I'll address in the future if it continues to happen. But
yeah.
I know myself, I'm super careful when I design something to make sure that nobody else has designed it the way I have.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I think you had like the dinosaurs on there,
Yeah.
and it's like, so for me, like if I saw that and I was like, oh, and like I have thousands of pictures on my folder, man. Like I think I can fill up a full hard drive of just images that I've either captured on my phone, took a picture of, or just found on the internet, just for influence. And not only that, not to make sure I don't do the same thing.
Right.
Um, so if someone approached me and sent me that picture and go, oh, we really like this, this picture of this dinosaur in this astronaut suit, I'm like, dope. Okay, and they wanted it. Let's say they wanted a T-Rex. Okay, then just do your version of it. You know what I mean? Different
Yeah.
pose, different everything. You know what I mean? Different suit, maybe make it more feature. Like there's so many ways you can go.
You could even change the color. I think
Yeah.
people forget about that, right? Like some of those, like the dinosaurs we talked about, they're so similar. The suit's the same color. It has the little bubble on the top or the little antenna. The ray gun had the same antenna. And yeah, it was changed, but it's so much alike like the other design that it's almost like you can't call it your own at that point, in my opinion, right? So
Oh, I hear you. And that's where like some of these guys are young. Some of these guys are starting out. They're getting into this world of, okay, design. And I know early on I made some of those same mistakes. But you have to figure out what your influences are, what your style is, and then you kind of roll with that.
right.
That's kind of what you do. And and you let inspiration. Me and Style just did a Mr. Smith. I think he's watching right now. We just did a collab and it came out really good. But I love taking existing logos or existing ideas and going, how can I make that into something that's dope? It's not always easy. I mean, like, who would have thought Pikachu would have been like the Magic's logo? You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just looking and trying. Like, that was a concept I did like 3 times before I even, finished it, because it was like trying to make it so that it looked like it, but was still that, So,
but see, nobody is confusing. That's Pikachu, right? You're not
right.
like changing it a little bit and being like, oh, that's not Pikachu.
That's me. That's my guy.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's
Yeah.
where the fine line is, I think, and a lot of people don't realize that. and being from a graffiti background, as you know, that's one of the things that you're like super mindful of taking somebody else's style or taking what somebody else has done. That's creating a whole other issue on the street. So
yeah, that's the main thing, man. I mean, take it to pencil and paper. Carlos is a good example of that, man. He would send me his sketches, and for the most part, I just try to keep true to what he did. I'd add a little bit for him, so it's kind of a Carlos Park flair to it. For a lot of it, I just I was like, hey, you want it exact? He's like, yeah. So I do it exact for him. So it depends on the client too, like who you're working with and what they're doing. But I could see Carlos's creativity because he drew it. He just didn't have the means to put it in Illustrator.
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit about that too. This tool Illustrator is such a new thing, and I'm still, I've gone to you a couple of times and said, hey, how the hell do I do this? Not realizing, because I'm still learning as I go. I mean, every time I put the mouse down or I'm drawing on my tablet, I'm learning as I go, and I'm trying different software and just all these different things. So
yeah, it was. I think I sent you a little video real quick, huh? Like I
couple
just
of them.
recorded it. Yeah,
a couple of them.
Yeah, and it's crazy because sometimes I'll jump on an artist stream, and I'll just be watching them. I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Like I'll learn some things, some quick tips on like coloring it or different things. I'm like, huh. You're always learning. So it's one of the this kind of art is something that you're always learning and growing. But once you got that distinct style, like if you throw up one of your pieces, you're like, oh, that's a dank piece. I know that for sure. Or if you see one of mine, you're like, oh, that's InkPark. That's John's. I know. So like there's little nuances that you learn, and that becomes your style.
Right.
So
I kind of want to, we're going to rewind a little bit back and
sure.
just kind of introduce everybody to you. But just if you can give like a brief kind of history of, your background, like area you grew up in, influences that you had, how you got into the kind of designing and logos and stuff, if you want to kind of address that.
Sure. Yeah. So as a kid, like I always was able to draw, love to draw, comic books, whatever. And my brother would ask me to draw him pictures of like certain heroes, and he'd go and sell them at school for him. I'm like, hey, what happened to that Superman I drew you? He's like, oh, I don't know. But he was making money off me at a young age. So like, fast forward into high school, I took graphic design. It had just started coming out. Didn't really think much of it, and just kind of went on about life. Never thought, too much about drawing. I would just draw here and there, nothing super serious. But even at a young age, I've always liked comic books, always loved, cartoons, graffiti, loved graffiti. Anytime I'd see, back then you'd have to actually go physically see places because, you wouldn't have a ton of internet. But when the internet started coming out and just being able to see everyone's pictures and stuff, it was just really cool. Kind of bounced around different jobs, ended up getting into engineering in the housing market in California here. And when that crashed, dude, I had just started getting into doing some logos. So some of the companies I worked for, I was like, oh, I could draw, they're like, oh, will you do a logo for us? So, and back then I was doing it in AutoCAD. I would do the logos in AutoCAD because that was the only means I had. So here I'm making logos in AutoCAD. And when the housing market crashed, I was like, man, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. So ended up learning on like Inkscape and another program called the GIMP. The GIMP is a free like Photoshop program.
Yeah.
And so a buddy of mine's like, oh, there's this energy drink. These guys want the can designed. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I guess I'd give it a shot. Who knows? So here I am designing this energy drink. Not only that, but it had to go to Jordan. So half the can was in Arabic and half the can was in English. So here I am designing this energy drink can in like a Photoshop program. Anyway, did it, got paid for it. Another friend's like, oh, look, do this energy drink for me. And this one was, it was called Daredevil, and it was here in California. So that's kind of like the first kind of start I had to graphic design, and just from there, I've just been teaching myself how to use the programs. And, one of my first big clients I ever worked for was called Sprayground. And when I started with them, they were barely known, but, now they're, worldwide. Everyone's seeing the shark mouth backpack. And, that's actually a design that I made for them. That was my concept. I came up with it, and the owner just kind of ran with it. So it's just cool to see that kind of stuff, and it's like, man, that thing's still around. I designed that like 10 years ago.
That's dope.
Yeah. So that's it, man. Just, and, like when I first started doing the graphic design here, dude, I would just hit up Craigslist because, I didn't have a 9-to-5 at that point. This was my 9-to-5. So I'd hit up Craigslist in just all the big cities to try to find people looking for graphic designers. It's crazy though what you find. Like I did work for Asics that way, Asics shoes. I did work for the Teen's Choice Awards. Like I did some crazy jobs that like from Craigslist. Who would have thought? But that's just that hustle, Yeah. And then it was about 7, maybe 8 years ago, Instagram started getting real big. And so just being on Instagram, and I had to into all the clothing shows like Magic, people that are Agenda, they're big like skate brand shows, and clothing brands go there. And so I just would hit those shows constantly and getting new work, and new brands would hit me up. Did work for the Hundreds, did work for Neff, DGK, like you name it. I did work for Element Skateboards. So I've been around. I've done a lot of work for different people. And so, yeah, man, just that hustle. That's kind of, thanks, Lopez. Appreciate that, man.
That's my son.
Oh, nice, man. So, yeah, man. And really the ones that have supported me the most are the small brands, bro. Like there's one out in your area, in Phoenix area, in Arizona, called Roughneck, and I did a lot of stuff for him as well. In fact, I think I did 2 posts today that both those were for his brand.
Oh, so, yeah, I saw the Spider-Man one, right?
Yeah, and the cap. Yeah. So it's both. I just put another one. Yeah, and so that's it, man. It's small brands. That's like majority of my work and my money come from small brands. So I'm always trying to support them just as much as they're trying to support me. So a lot of respect to them. Carlos, I've done work for Carlos. So I appreciate everyone.
No, it's, I mean, the stuff you do, I can't tell. I'm going to see if I can put some of this stuff out here just so everybody can kind of see what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and so like I would just say for anybody, yeah, that was one I did for him.
Yeah, that one's pretty dope. And then you got that one, right? Those are
the cap. Yeah. So those were all like t-shirt designs and stuff like that. So, but yeah, man, I mean, I just love being able to take something like that and, do my play on it. He was like, oh, he came with me with a concept, and I was like, I love it. So this is what I'm going to do for it. So that's what you do. Like, good example, Carlos there. He, like I said, I like the way he thinks he's all about like Chicago and the Bulls and, the Windy City, and the cloud one we kind of did together. And I love the sketch, man. The sketch was so good. And I was like, man, I just wanted to illustrate it. So it came out really good for him. And then the other one too, I think it was like the gangster one. That one was really dope as well.
Was that the Al Capone one?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I like, man. I like to just work with with guys like me and Style did one. I think I have one with Hat Junkie. Like all these guys are hitting me up, and I'm trying to get to everyone as fast as I can. It's just so crazy. And then on top of that, you know, working with like me and Pierre, we're starting the Good Hats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have some stuff coming up, me and Dank, and then we have some stuff with Hat Club coming up. So there's there's a lot of stuff coming out that you guys are gonna be like, wow, this is so cool. So
No, that's good. I give you props, man. You know that your hustle is unmatched as far as I'm concerned. You know, you're always putting your stuff out there, and I'm like seriously envious because, you know, and not of you as the person, but just, you know, what you're able to accomplish. And I'm sure you don't sleep as much as you're putting stuff out. There's no way you're sleeping.
No, man, it's like, yeah, it's just crazy. And it's what's even crazier is I'm the only one doing it. Like, so when you email me, it's me, you know,
Yeah.
When you DM me, it's me. And that's what I try to tell guys, like, look, you know, I'm working as fast as I can, and, you know, try to bust out as much as I can on top of everything else. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate everyone that hits me up as well. Like you've hit me up a couple times, like, yeah, bro, I got you. Don't worry. I'll shoot you a little tutorial real quick.
Yeah. I mean, it's a learning process. And I think, you know, when you don't have the advantage of being artistic, you know, it's easy to say, this is what my idea is, right?
Yeah.
It's hard for the artist to grab what's in your mind and see what you're seeing. And, you know, you do a really good job of being able to put everybody's stuff out there. And yeah, definitely, you know, you can see it when, you know, we just showed those two, you know, those are nice, really, really nice looking designs. And
yeah, and it's just one of those things where, you know, as far as like learning the programs, bro, like day one, I'm like, I get Illustrator. I'm like, okay, I have a little bit of knowledge of AutoCAD, and literally watching tutorials on YouTube on what's a pen tool, what's this, what's that, you know, what's a varying width tool. So learning all that stuff, and man, the way I used to design compared to the way I design now, it was just crazy. Like I would literally, almost like a graffiti project, right? You don't put the black lines on first, right? You kind of add the color and then the layers on top of it.
Fill.
Right. So that's kind of how I used to design, but it would take forever and the lines wouldn't always be right. So I had to learn to use the different tools, and there's no tutorial out there that shows you, I want to draw this. What tools do I need to draw that?
Right.
So you got to just learn the tools and what works best for you.
Yep.
So that's what I would suggest. Like whatever style you have, learn that style and then learn to draw it. Learn the tools you need to make your style work the most effectively. And man, pen tool's been the hero, and and when the Illustrator added the varying width tool, where you can take the end of and pinch it down. Oh man, that was a saver. It was a lifesaver, because I used to draw that out, man. I used to have to draw the little.
Would you fill it in? Would you draw it in?
Yeah, I would just leave it as a line, because what if you wanted to go back and edit it? I would literally just draw a little triangle to end the line.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. See, even like the font behind me, that's all custom.
Yeah.
You know, you take your base, the eye. So you have the eye right here, and from the eye, you make the whole font.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, dude, that's.
I've done a couple of fonts and they're pretty crazy. I mean, you know, when I first started kind of like taking this a little bit more seriously than before. So, were you a part of Clink Point One?
So I had submitted a couple designs, but bro, like honestly, I was not. I mean, I could draw, but I was kind of in that spot where what I drew didn't match necessarily what was illustrated, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I could draw, but I couldn't translate it to the program quite yet. So I hadn't learned to do that. I think I did to a certain degree, but it was still hit and miss. I think I had the Mobies up there. The Mobies was original one that I had submitted, but it wasn't. I submitted that towards the end of Clink. So I don't know if they were transitioning out to back in, but that was the original one I had done. And then I did the one of you liked it a lot, the new one, the Revenge.
Yeah, I dig that design with the fish, the big fish hook.
Yeah. So that was kind of a play on what I had originally submitted that never was used.
All right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so when I started with messing around, and when I probably submitted like 15 horrible designs to Clink 1.0. Like seriously.
It's funny when you look back though, right? Because you're like, dang, what was I thinking?
Yeah, I still have them, and I look at them and like, there's no way for me to even make that better, right? It's like it's so bad. But you know, the ones that got picked were the Aslan All Stars, which is that swinging Aztec one, right?
Yeah, that was a good one.
And the Skinwalkers, and those were at the end, because I think after that run, that's when they were done. Clink was done at that point.
Yeah, you know what I did like, and I do appreciate, and in as much as you know, some may say you're negative and stuff, I think that as an artist, you need to be challenged. If someone, now take this as a grain of salt, all art is subjective, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see brands out there that put stuff on, and I would never buy that in 100 years. You know, it looks like my 2-year-old drew it. Right. But then there's some people that just love that stuff.
Yeah.
And all the more to them. But as an artist, if you can't take someone saying, well, your art, it's just not that good, then you need to kind of go back to the door and be like, maybe this isn't for me. Because I don't know how many times I've been told, I don't like it. And I'm like, you know what? That's all right, because that's just not their taste.
Right.
And you have to take that. And then you have to take a step back and go, is it me or is it them? And sometimes it is you. Sometimes you got to be like, you know what? I did kind of cut some corner. I'm gonna go back and change up a few things and send it. And I thought that's what Clink 1.0 did. Good job of, right?
Yeah, I think that's missing in this one personally. And I hate to make everything about Clink Room, because
no,
not. But you know, that's where I got my start as far as the cap designing. You know, and I was trying to avoid going down this road, but we'll just touch on it briefly. I think that's where Casey was really good at kind of molding the artist and making him realize, like, hey, that's not that good. Maybe you can do A, B, and C, and then you would take it back, right, and resubmit it. And then you would say, okay, I see where I didn't do this maybe the way that it should have looked. And that specifically with me, that happened with the Skinwalkers. When I originally designed it, it was real cartoony. And Casey, you know, I'll never forget when he got back to me, he was like, hey, you know, why don't you do more of a classic Native American face instead of like so cartoony? So then I was like, okay, let me look into that. And then I started looking, you know, online and looking at different, you know, pictures of Indians and I hate to use that word, pictures of Native Americans and, you know, different logos, just to see. And I'm like, okay, I think I figured out what they're talking about. And, you know, I went back and referenced an actual person, because I think when you're doing something like that, you kind of want to be true to what you're, you know, trying to represent. Because there's that line, right, of being offensive and, and you know, doing something that people can actually be proud of, you know, and when they wear it, you know, and so that's how that one. And I just got lucky with Aslan All Stars. I didn't make any changes to it. Like, and I did that one in like 20 minutes, because I was like, while they're closing it down, like, what the hell? I'm just gonna submit this and see what it looks like. And it went through. And that's the one everybody asks me about all the time.
Well, even Casey said it. Like, if you watched any of the Clink Vision, he said the reason why we're using these artists is because, they can make it happen. They're polished in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of a message to all of the artists. Hey, you want to be using those kind of things,
Right?
You need to step up your game. And I think Clink has become a really nice place for a lot of people to submit art, but I think they also, with you being subjective, like submitting art, you need to be able to take the good with the bad,
Right.
And I think they're starting to, Casey said it, and it's starting to come around that way. And a lot of times designs don't get picked for whatever reason. It could be a design, but I think Clink is starting to round out what they're really about. And Casey kind of told me the other day, they like weird and strange stuff for theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all for that. Hey, if that's your brand, that's your brand. And I dig it. Yeah, like the fart squirrel. Dude, I'm like, really? And he's like, what? I'm like, come on, man. You're joking, right? He's like, no, that's fart squirrels. I'm like, all right, well, I'll give it a go. And it was fun. It was a fun project. But I like those kind of things. I think, Jason probably would have done it really good too, as well. Cause me and him have a lot of similar style, but, yeah, it came out good, man. And, I appreciate Clink. Like I said, if you're looking to get into it, Clink has given a lot of individuals that opportunity to be able to submit hats. And just remember, like, when you submit hats and they get to crits, it's exactly what it's called, crits. So when, take that criticism and just make yourself better.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. And just refine. I see a lot of submissions, and a lot of them are great ideas, but sometimes the execution isn't there.
Right.
And that's part of becoming an artist. Like, okay, I have this great idea, and I had that, like, I did a whole series of Pokemon / teams, right? And so when I was going through all these teams, I'm like, how am I going to make these guys fit to certain teams? And I did a Star Wars one too.
Mm-hmm.
And not every concept worked. Like, I still have one I'm sitting on. It's a Atlanta Hawks one. So I was like, what could I use from the Star Wars universe to make an Atlanta Hawks logo? And it just never worked out. So I never posted it but I think sometimes people are like, oh, it's close enough, let me just post it.
Yeah.
And that's where that, okay, sit back and go, even take a picture of it. Sometimes what's weird is you may take a picture of it or send yourself a picture of it. Look at it on your phone. Look at it on something different,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll start to see, oh man, I need to change that, or I need to add that. I don't know how many times I've done that, and I've sent like a photo to myself, and I'm like, shoot, I need to change a couple things. So I think you're good about that too, Dink. It's just kind of sitting back, let it digest a little bit, and then try again. You know what I mean? Or make adjustments.
Yeah, and I'm super hard on myself. I mean, I have a design coming out, and you've seen it, the snake one.
Yeah.
And I think I redid that thing probably 10 times before I was even like, okay, I'm going to submit it, because, and I think that's the difference between, no disrespect, but that's the difference between me and a lot of artists.
Oh yeah.
You have the ability to work on these things all day, right? Because this is your hustle, your job.
Mm-hmm.
Me, these are things that are coming out that are like me specific, right? So
yeah.
It's, I take a step back and I'm like, okay, this has to be different than what I did the last time. I don't want it the same way, right? I don't want it to look the same. It's my style, but I try to change it up a little bit so it's not so much my style that you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely him. I want people to kind of think about it and be like, oh, okay, I see where he was going with this. you know, and I'm just super hard on myself when it comes to these designs. I'll sketch them 30, 40, 50 times, different thumbnails, different poses. And then, you know, I'm putting it in Illustrator, and then I wait a day or two, and then I look back at it. I'm like, this fucking sucks. And I start over again. Right.
Yeah.
So that's just me. I mean, that's just the way I work, but I, you know, it's not to make other people happy. It's to make me happy.
Yeah.
You know, that I do that. So, and I don't want to put out the same design in, you know, 8 million colorways, or, you know, just, I don't want to be known for one logo,
Right.
you know, and I'm trying not to pick fights here, but, you know, there's someone on the Hat Collective that kind of just puts out the same stuff. And yeah, it's cool. It's quirky. You know, it's October. Let's put out this design in orange and black. Like, I don't want to do that. That's, I'm not a novelty, and I don't want my artwork to be a novelty.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, I think diversity is great. You know, that's why, I don't know if you noticed, but I love patches, dude. I grew up in the era where NASA was big, you know, and
I've
Challenger and all that stuff. And so, and I love patches, like I've always have, even as a kid. So that's one of the styles I've always really, really loved. And so like putting that out, unfortunately, none of those will make Clink because they're not different enough. You know what I mean? But it's actually kind of funny because the shuttle one I had on this week, I'm actually doing a collab with someone with it anyway. I just forgot to take it down, and Casey ended up putting it up. And so it did really good. Everyone loved it. But at the end of the day, I was like, oh, I already had it kind of reserved for someone. And Casey's like, yeah, it's not different enough for us. And I'm like, oh, that's fine, man. Your brand is defined. I don't take any hard feelings to that, you know? So I have a double collab coming out with someone. So Good Hats will be putting one out, and I think Capologist will be putting out another one. And so you'll see that one as well pretty soon. So pretty excited about that collab. Actually, it's really good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I think I've shown you a lot. You get to see a lot of the inside stuff.
I do. I show you all the stuff too.
I know. Well, that's what's so great about like having and all people, like artists, you know, don't be afraid to collab with someone, dude. Don't be afraid to bounce someone off, you know, ideas or whatever. If you feel like, hey, man, what could set this off? Take that constructive criticism, you know, and like I do it all the time. I hit up people like, what do you think of this? Or, you know, what about this? And, you know, for the most part, if I feel like it's a good design, I'm not going to say anything, because we could always nitpick stuff.
Right.
You know, and I've learned not to do that, because I'm like, I feel like a line here, a line there is not going to make that big of a difference. But if the concept is good, the lines, and you get what it is, like you said, your snake one, amazing. I thought the first one was great, but I know you're hard on yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, when you went back and redid it, and I was like, even better, you know what I mean? So, but that's the process, you know, and a lot of Clink guys do hit me up, dude. It's amazing. A lot of them do hit me up, and I've built a good rapport with a lot of them. And, you know, I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. You know, I'm just sitting here, and, you know, anybody that needs anything, you know, I'm willing to help out. And hopefully I get my stream going. That was going pretty good. I just got too much, man. You know,
yeah, I was watching, like, I was going through all your old ones. Did you take them down? No,
I think Twitch just deletes them after a while if you don't save them. So yeah, I gotta go back and do that. The problem is I started working with Brandiose, right? And so I can't show anything on there.
Right.
And then I started doing Hat Club, which we have that whole thing there. And I couldn't show everything there, right? I could show some stuff and submit it and, you know, whatever, but the other stuff that we have coming, I couldn't show. So now that all that kind of stuff is winding down, I'm going to put up a schedule and probably do maybe start streaming 3 times a week for everyone. Cause I got a lot of people coming in, man, and they were having a good time, and, you know, I'll try to show some stuff. And so it was a good time. So I'll try to get that going again.
Well, when you're doing it, you have that Bob Ross voice.
Do I? It's so funny. Someone said that to me too. They're like, "Man, you're so soothing to listen to." They would just put me on at work. I'm like, "All right, bro, whatever you want." Yeah.
It's like, oh, all right. I might take a nap while I'm watching this. I don't know.
Yeah, just that. Oh, look at a little mistake. It's a happy little mistake. It's a happy little line.
Happy little Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a happy little Pokemon. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, let me post what Carlos here. I don't know. Can you see these comments, John?
Yeah, I see them. I see them. Oh, I would love that. They haven't done that in a while, huh? Where you take a take on someone else's design and you do your version of it.
Yeah, well, I remember. I don't know if Ben had posted on one of the stories. God, this was a while ago, asking if anybody wanted to see a collab between you and me. So really? I don't know if they were. I don't know if they were mainly no, because he never brought it up again. So I was like, I guess not.
Yeah, I mean, we could always. I don't know. What did the Thrill and Dankadelik do? I don't remember.
Didn't they?
You know what's funny? I didn't realize who was on the collective until that thing we're doing came out, and I saw all the designs. Because then I got to see all.
Yeah, I haven't seen them all. I've just seen yours and mine.
Yeah. So, I was like, huh, interesting. I didn't even know some of the people that were on there. So,
yeah, I have a really big mouth, and I don't think I've made too many friends on the collective. So.
It's all good, man. I think, well, I talked to Chimuko and I do talk to I've known Danny forever, dude. Like I knew Danny when he first, originally I was the one that had the octopus logo. When I first started out, that was my logo. It was Ink Lab. And so like my logo was an octopus and I've had it for years, like way, way long time. And then I remember Dankadelik came up with that one. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And so like we had talked quite a bit when he was first starting out with the hat stuff. And I went kind of like clothing brand side and that whole industry, skate industry. And he kind of just stuck with the hat stuff.
Right.
But yeah, Danny's cool. Like I get along with everyone. But you know me, man. I pretty much get along with everyone.
Yeah, you do.
I'm just easygoing. I'm like, whatever, No,
it's good, man. I just, I'm a little too competitive, I think, and
there's nothing wrong with being competitive, I like that about you because that makes you better,
Yeah.
If you weren't competitive, who knows how your art would be. So I think you have to take everyone for who they are. Like Danny's content with what he does. Chimuko is really easygoing as well. So those guys are, who they are and they do what they do. Just like you are who you are and you do what you do. So if you weren't competitive, you wouldn't push yourself to be better in a sense. You know what I mean? You would pass on the first design, be like, yep, there you go. But because you have that competitive nature, it makes you better. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. I kind of like being the villain of the whole thing too. You know what I mean? I'm like, Juice, I'm Bishop. You know what I mean? I want to push everybody's buttons and then, kind of make everyone my enemy and be afraid.
That's the old Mexican pride. Oh man.
Like, yeah, I want to get attention, and there was one post on the New Era, the Facebook group.
Uh-huh.
And I made a comment about the Thrill had done because there's like 3 dudes, right? So I made a comment about the double pack hat that they were selling. Did you see that one?
Thrill's 3 dudes. It's like
I think it's 3. Is it 2 guys or 3 guys?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like I didn't know who was. Like I didn't know Foosier Sports was part of the collective. I didn't know any of those.
I think there's 3 dudes. Anyway, so I made a comment about like who the hell would pay that much for 2 hats, like in a box that you're probably going to throw away, and then like everyone got mad at me on there, and then one of the guys from Thrill was like, well, hey man, like famous people wear my hats, and I'm like, what's your point, dude? Like I can, as an artist, I'm going to criticize what I don't like about it. You know what I mean? And you know, if you have something negative to say about my designs, say it. It's not going to hurt my feelings. It's just I'm going to tell you you're wrong. But you know, that's
Right.
about it. It's going to get.
Yeah, you like to be a little combative. I get that. It's all good though.
That's just my personality, man. It's that.
Oh, like I said, I appreciate everyone. Yeah, I appreciate everyone. Like I've been around the block, bro. Like I've dealt with every kind of personality and stuff like that, and you know, you're fine to me, man. You say what's on your mind, and you know, I appreciate that. Like sometimes people beat around the bush. I'm not a type of person that beats around the bush. If I don't like something, I'm gonna be like, it's okay. I don't like it. You know, I'm gonna do it in a nice way. Instigator.
Yeah,
Mercenary says you're an instigator.
Pretty much. I'm the villain, man. I'm the villain.
Nah, it's all good. He is, but Dink's good people, man. Trust me. I know. He's good.
No, you know, it's all good. I mean, you have to have that little bit of an edge. But, you know, I would rather somebody come to me and tell me what's wrong with my design than thinking that everybody's going to love it. You know, I really would want someone to say, hey, I don't like this. You know, I think when I released the Jag Warrior hat, somebody had made a comment about the skin not being dark enough on the guy in the center, right? And I'm like, so I'm kind of guessing when it comes to these colors because on my computer, they're looking one way and the thread actually is going to look a different way. So you can't really give me a bad time about it. But he was giving me shit for it and I just blew it off. Like there's only so much that I can do, right? And then someone got pissed off at me because I put the Rain God logo and I put a Santa hat on it. And this guy was like messaging me on Instagram talking shit because he's like, that's Christian and this is native. And I was like, man, I'm just ignoring you. I didn't block him or anything. I just kept deleting his messages. I'm like, I ain't got no time for this.
That's just it, man. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has, you know, their thoughts on what should be. And it, like I said, their opinions are like belly buttons, man. Everyone has one, but a lot of times, you know, they're just useless, right?
Yeah. It's all good. I mean, it's all good. Like I said, if I'm going to dish it out, I got to be able to take somebody's shit too.
For sure. For sure. And like I said, like, I don't have any problem, you know. I'm trying to think if anybody's really. I had one guy, like when I first started designing, he literally stole every design from me. Literally. It was some dude out of Miami, literally stole it. And I was like, hey, bro, like, and I usually try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, I'm all right. If I see like someone stolen my art, I'd be like, hey, man, I don't know. You know, I'll hit them up on DM. I don't know if you know, but like I sold that design to someone else. And they're like, oh, dude, like 9 out of 10 times, dude. They're like, oh, dude, like I paid someone to give it to me off the site. Okay. Yeah, just take it down. And most, 9 out of 10 times they take it down. No, this dude was straight up combative. Like he's all, nah, man, I drew these myself. I was like, bro, come to find out, he was like some convict in Miami or something like that. And eventually all his stuff got shut down anyway. But yeah, I mean, when I first started, it would just piss me off. Like I could not sleep. I was so mad. Right. But then after a while, I'm like, who cares? It's not even worth being mad about. You know, they stole it, whatever, you know. And eventually you just kind of get over it. You know?
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, you got to have a little bit of fight though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now back to Carlos's question. Here's a question for you, Carlos. What design would you want us to do? That's a question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
I don't mind. Like I've always said I would do one of Dank's. I would love to do like a play on one of his.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty fun.
We should put up a poll on Instagram and see what people say. I'm down for it.
Yeah, I'm good with that. We should do it and then submit it. I think Hat Club would enjoy it. Yeah,
I mean, they enjoy anything that makes them money, right?
Right.
Like all of us, right?
Yeah, who doesn't? Come on, Carlos. Are you watching or what?
He's probably there somewhere. I like this though, man. I like your little show. We gotta got to get some more peeps on here, and
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I don't have a whole lot of subscribers and stuff yet. I think as this gets going, we'll start having different people. I mean, the plan is to have kind of a little bit of everybody. I'm just kind of asking people that I know that, are in the game. And, I started with Carlos because, I think he's a little bit different, than your regular design collective guys, right? Because he was on there and then now he's not, and he's trying to hustle and do his own thing, kind of like, the capologists. And, you and Pierre are doing that now. So, I think it's good. I'm trying to work on something behind the scenes that really nobody knows about. I know I've talked to you about it, but, I'm planning to get it to that level, and I'd love to have Leon on here, Pierre, and, be able to kind of turn the table on them, right, and ask them questions. Maybe Tony Ross.
Yeah, get Tony Ross would be great. Yeah, get those guys on here, man. Like, this is his music.
Music is his art.
Oh.
My art is music, and in music, I was going to be blown away. Yeah.
You want us to do something outside our comfort zone? Okay. Yeah, I like that.
I don't think anything's out of John's comfort zone. So is that even fair?
I mean, they did throw fart squirrels at me. I was like,
Yeah, but it's a cartoon, and I was like, yeah, he's got that.
Yeah. I would actually have loved to do the bear one.
Which one? Oh, the Arcos or whatever it's called.
Yeah. I still feel it was still really close to the Bears. Like, it just reminded me of Chicago Bears, kind of. I liked the third version he did, where it was like it looked like the California Bear, kind of. With the really cool background. Like, that was my favorite he did on that one, because that was different. Like, I've seen a bear face front before, you know what I mean? But the one to the side, that was my favorite. But
you know what I think he should have done is given you guys all the same thing and then have you try to design it. I mean, because they're all going to be different, right? Everybody's going to have their own take on it.
Yeah, so the thing behind it was, like, they have developed over the years, like, hundreds and hundreds of team names, like hundreds, bro. Like, you wouldn't believe. So
they were just kind of playing off of that.
Yeah, so that was just a snippet of some. So I guess what they want to do is to continue to have it, and they'll probably invite other artists as, other artists come up and they get some polished artists in there, because it's kind of a fast turnaround, right? You have to be able to come up with something within a couple days, so it's a fast turnaround. Not every artist can do that. So that's why, that's the other reason why they kind of chose who they chose. And not only that, but be able to, I mean, I already had made all the changes when we were talking on the show, you know what I mean? Like, most of the changes were already done, and then just submitted them back to Casey. So, but yeah, that's the thing. So, that's interesting, Carlos. We'll have to think about that, but yeah, I'm down. If we could always do this too. If Dank wants to draw it, I could always illustrate it.
Yeah, we could try that and submit that to
his sketches are really cool. So I could always, like, really mess around with one of the sketches. Something
so
like crazy.
Just so you know, Carlos, Hat Club's kind of already doing something on the side. I can't say it. I think next week they'll kind of release it, but none of it is Mexican culture that I've submitted.
None of it, yeah. Not one that I've seen.
No, they're all just they're all different. So you're gonna see stuff that was really outside of my comfort zone, I think. But
your first the one you did for the I don't want to give it away, but the home version was probably my favorite so far. On the first release. I haven't seen the others, so I haven't seen the other sew outs. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I showed you the swatches, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got the first two, right?
I have Well, yeah,
Did you that
I
are
have the
done, like completely finished?
yeah, I have the sew outs for. I mean, he sends me for the approvals, right? Just like you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what Hat Club does is once we submit a design, we could tell them this part.
Yeah.
They do sew outs, so they have their person do sew outs for us. It won't necessarily be in the colors of the hat, but what it does is it lets you see the embroidery of what's going to happen. So then from there we can make changes. Like, Dink might get it, or I might get mine and go, oh, I'm going to take that detail out. I'm gonna change this and that so that it pops more. So there's little things that we can do before the hat's even released. And so I think I just got the last sew outs a couple weeks ago for my last one. So usually we get them pretty quick, like within a week or two, right? The sew outs.
Yeah, well, I have one that's for my personal stuff. That I think that thing's gone back like 4 or 5 times because I'm not happy with it at all. The sew out the way it's coming out, and
Oh
I'm
yeah,
ready.
you showed me that one. Yeah.
And I showed it to you, yeah, and I'm totally ready to walk away from it because I'm so frustrated with the way that it's coming out because they're picking up some things and then changing others, and I'm like, that's not what I said. And
Yeah.
the problem with that is that we have somebody in the middle. No fault of Hat Club, right? They're getting New Era is getting the information second. They're not getting it directly from me. They're getting it from Hat Club and Hat Clubs. So I don't know if there's maybe something lost in the translation or if it's something that I haven't, been too specific on. But we'll see. Hopefully, this next sew out I get next week, and hopefully it's better so I can approve it so it can come out by summer.
Yeah. I would just always suggest the less is more.
Yeah.
When it comes to embroidering,
Definitely.
less is more. So if you can lose a few lines or a few details,
That's
trust
what
me,
I've been trying to tell them to take away. Yeah, some of the stuff.
because sometimes they try to. That's why some of the stuff like I see that people submit, not just for Clink Room, but just in general. Like I'll see some people submit like their mock-ups for
Mm-hmm.
pre-order. I'm not specifically talking about Clink. Usually by the time Clink gets it and it's for pre-order, it's pretty much good. But I'll see some like, man, I don't know if that's going to embroider. Like, how thin is that line going to be? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just submittals. You mean stuff that's just submitted to them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Rain God you did was really cool because they did it two ways. Like you had the outline, and then they did it without it, and then it was like 3D embroidery. That was so cool. So that's why I say less is more. If you can do it both ways like that, that's a winner.
Yeah, and that's hard to do because sometimes you're like, that doesn't look right. Puffed out 3D. When you see it, then you're like, maybe I should cut that out. But
Yeah.
It's different for every design.
Yeah, for the new thing that we're doing for Hat Club, which all the design collective is doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've only had to ask for redo two designs. That was it.
I'm trying to think. I think I only had one that I had to send back.
Yeah, I only had two. It was the first one was too much detail in the face, and then the second one, it was too much detail on one of the parts. So I was like, oh, let's get rid of that. So
yeah, I think it was the first one I did. The two that I showed you was the first one that I had to send back because it was the elements inside of the design. I couldn't pop them out like I wanted to. Like in my mind, I saw it one way and was thinking they could do it, and it's too small to do it. So it was fine. Either way, it worked. It works. The design works, but I think everybody will be surprised about the stuff that I did because it's completely different.
Yeah, no, and you did good, man. It was good stuff. It was good
Thank
stuff.
you.
So next week, or maybe the end of this week, I don't know when they're supposed to do it.
I'm not sure either.
I know they have them in hand, so I guess we'll have to do a show about that, man. Come on and
that's the plan. I mean, if I can get people to tune in just to see new releases, I think that'll be kind of cool. Whether it's mine or yours or what you're willing to show or what we're able to show right when it goes through Hat Club. So
yeah, for sure, man. Just like I said, anytime you're doing a show, just just be you, and a lot of times people just tune in just to see who. What's he going to say this time, or what's what's the topic going to be about, and just keep it fresh, and
Yeah, that's why I was trying not to go down the clink way. But
no, that's fine. Well, I mean, we're both. I'm a clinker, so that's fine. If we touch on it, it's fine. It's nothing negative or anything like that. So
yeah, I mean, I give a lot of respect to Casey.
Dude's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't agree with all his decisions, and him and I have had conversations, but I don't dislike him. I think he's really good for what's going on right now. I just think there's too much stuff out there.
Yeah, I think Clink has become a really nice place for new artists to kind of showcase. You know what I mean? Their stuff. I mean, I think Aurelian's been around, but no one's really known Aurelian because he did a lot of stuff for Noble North. But now you can see like who Aurelian is. Jason V was always kind of behind the scenes with Brandios, but now he's come to the forefront, so you can see who Jason V is. So I think it's given a lot of these guys kind of their own little space, and that's great. I think it's great,
Yeah.
And I'm sure eventually down the line, Casey will tweak things and adjust and do things, so at least they have like a brand. At least he has an idea of what the brand is, If you want to do stuff for Clink, it's got to be different. It's got to be out there a little bit. You know what I mean?
Quirky.
That's some of the ideas he's posted to me. I'm like, I wasn't really feeling it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I know where he's coming from. Like, I know, like, okay, that's where he went. But I was like, nah, it's just not mine.
Well, I think when they came out and they were, using, I guess, the faithful, right? Like the old faithful, like, you and Ephra. And I think those designs were so much more solid than they've turned into now. I mean, you do have gems, right? Like Aurelian, I think he's done some that are just like, wow, like that's different. But then, I think he's putting so much into them that they're not really thought all the way through. Like I hated his Medusa design. And
you didn't like that one?
I did not like it. I don't like the way it embroiders. I'm just not a fan. Mm-hmm. But you look at like the Wendigo that he did. I don't know if you
that was crazy.
Yeah, that one's like, you look at it and you're like, wow, that guy's really good. And then you do look at some of the Noble North, right? Because Noble North is like some of their designs, they're just like really impressive.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah.
They stitch really well, and they look so professional. And I mean logo wise, like, professional as far as the team goes.
Yeah.
They just look really good.
Yeah. So I think he just has more. I think you're just seeing more of him, Noble North is probably, him saying, hey, this is what I want.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas Clink is allowing him to do what he wants.
Yeah.
Like he had that crazy guy, the god of wine or something like that.
Oh yeah. That was
so crazy. But that's, he's from France or something like that over there. Yeah. So that's something that hits home for him.
Right.
It might not be everyone's taste. It was done very well. It was just kind of a weird, quirky concept, Yeah. So, but that's cool. And you get a lot of these other guys that, submit stuff. And I think that's them versus just doing it for someone else.
Right.
Like a lot of stuff I post is I've done it for someone else. The stuff I do for Clink, or the stuff you guys will see coming for like, for Good Hats or for Hat Club, that's stuff that I would do. You know what I mean? That's like my stuff. So.
No, that's cool, man.
Yeah, I'm wearing one right now too.
Yeah, I like the Mambo. Well, I like the snake. What was that one?
The Dodgers?
Dodger colors. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, you're talking about the Mojave Greens.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, that one was for that actually I submitted to Clink, made it to Crits.
I remember.
But then Casey said that letter logos don't do that well. So I was like, okay. But it was with John Bear, who actually lives up in this area where I'm at in the high desert, Victorville. And so in the Mojave Desert, one of the lures is the Mojave greens. Like they're these crazy, like bright colored green snakes out in the middle of brown. And it's no joke. They're like some of the deadliest snakes in the world. And so the lore behind them, or what's thought, was these snakes were bred specifically for Vietnam. They were going to drop these snakes in the Viet Cong and let them attack the guys in the bush. But they broke out somehow, and now they're all over the Mojave Desert.
That's insane.
Yeah, they're really weird. It's like they're like bright green. It's crazy when you actually see one. They're not very long. There's these very aggressive rattlesnakes, and they'll sit on top of Joshua trees or on top of trees and attack.
Right.
So that was kind of the lore behind it. And so when I did it, yeah, just Casey was just like, nah, it's just, those. So I had to find another route. And through my years, I've had a lot of contacts with people that work with lids and different things. So I ended up finding a contact that was able to get it made through New Era for me.
No, that's good. I mean, it's a dope hat. The design's dope. It really is.
It came out really good. I was really happy with that one. And that was kind of the first hat that Good Hats put out. So one of many. And we have 3 hats right now. So we did the pre-order on the Ted Williams, the Kid. And it did really well. And that one's going to be really cool. It's got the graffiti 3 crowns on the back. Navy. It's going to have gold stitching. And then we have one collab coming out with that one and another one. So we're trying to do like legend series. So like Ted Williams. Okay. Let me just finish this thought real quick. So we did Ted Williams, the Triple Crown, and then we have another one coming out, and then we'll have, so every release we're going to try to come out with what's we're calling the Legend Series. So taking an iconic baseball, basketball player, whoever it is, and kind of coming up with a team logo for them. So with Good Hats, what we're really trying to do is make the logos look like it would be part of a team, like it was something a team would wear.
Right.
So, all right. So John, what top 3 brands, artists you'd like to collab with you haven't done? Well, I'd definitely like to collab with my boy here, which we're going to do. We got some stuff in the works. Brands or artists? Trying to think. See, I have some stuff coming out with, was it Just Fitteds? My Fitteds out of New York. That was one I wanted to do some stuff with. I'm trying to see who else I've reached out to. I've always liked Johnny Cupcakes for some reason. I don't know if it's his brand model. I mean, the art's okay.
Logo, maybe.
The art's okay. Like it's kind of kiddie, but I just like his brand motto where it's like one and done, right? Like this is it. We're not doing this colorway again. So I kind of like his stuff. Tokidoki's been really cool. Love Tokidoki. I'm all over the place, man, when it comes to like styles and things that I like. I'm trying to think who else. No, I've done stuff with them. Trying to think who else. I guess like if I had to name a big star, maybe Kanye. Wouldn't mind doing something with Kanye. doing the Yeezy Bear or something. I don't know. If you go real big. I know those guys. Pharrell and look at me trying to drop some names, but
name dropper.
So Billionaire Boys Club and he has ice cream, right? Yeah. So like I've talked to their reps and stuff like that. I haven't really talked to Pharrell. Every time I've gone there, he's always been mobbed with a bunch of people, and he really just comes to like whatever. I did do stuff with Play Clothes, and that is I'm trying to think what artist that is that owns that one. Play Clothes is really cool. I would like to do more stuff with them. But yeah, man, I mean, I would love to do stuff with Pharrell. Like personally, that would be really cool. How about you, Dank? Who would you like to collab with? They put me on the spot. I'm gonna put you on the spot. The Lakers. I would love to collab with the Lakers.
You know, I don't know. Honestly, I mean, I'd like to do stuff with you. I mean, we've talked about it in the past anyway. I know Carlos brought it up, but we've talked about doing that because I do have a little bit of a graffiti background too. You know, I know everybody sees all my stuff and it's all Mexican based, right? But I do other things. That's what I prefer to do when it comes to the cap game.
All right, here I came up with a concept we both can do.
Okay.
And I think we can sell Hat Club on this. Let's make an LA Dodgers mascot because we're both Dodger fans.
I'd do that in the colorway.
Yeah, it would be the white blue. Yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool. I've always wanted to make a mascot for them because they just have the LA.
Yeah. I'd have to think about that. Like then,
I know that's what I'm saying. Like
history of it, and
you know who This Is It, right? This Is It. Like he's really cool people too, man. I've met him a few times, and I would love to do some work with them as well.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff. I mean, his stuff is definitely different. I mean, I'd love to have him on here. I don't know if I could ever get him. I know the guy's super, super busy, but
I know some. I don't have his personal contact, but I know some of his people. I can see if I can talk to them and see if he's available and stuff. He's really cool
even
guy.
if it's 10 minutes, man, so I can bend his ear. You know what I mean? Yeah. But as far as who I'd like to work with,
OG Slick. Yep.
I mean, Slick would be good. I didn't even think about him, but just anybody in LA that has something going on. I mean, there's so much stuff that's popping off over there. There's a couple of local guys out here that I'd like to work with. But Arizona, for whatever reason, it's hard to get the love spread between people. Like we're not at that level. Like in LA, you see so many collabs with people and, they're pushing each other and trying to do, get everybody out together, do it at the same time. And you don't really see that out here.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to change that, but we'll see. We got to get a little bit of shine first, but
that's who I meant. This Is It. It was OG Slick. Yeah. He's super cool people, man. I wish if everything opens up, you got to come out to Cali in November, December time. They have what's called Designercon.
Okay.
And Designercon is like kind of like OG Slick is there, all the vinyl toy guys like I don't know if you guys know
like Cause and stuff.
Yeah, Cause, like all those guys. They kind of come out and they have booths and they sell their art and different stuff like that. I'm trying to think who else. Tracy Tubera is out there. He's the one that did the Fantasy Factory with Rob Dyrdek. He was the artist. Yeah, he did like the cartoons for him and stuff like that. He has really cool stuff, and all these guys sell prints, clothing, hats, whatever. So it's a really cool place. Hopefully if everything opens back up, they have it this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. My sister lives in Long Beach, so
it's in Anaheim, so it wouldn't be
down the street.
Far. Yeah,
30 minutes.
LBC, baby.
Yep. So, well, I won't take any more of your time, man. I really appreciate you coming online and doing this with me. I know that we could probably sit and talk for hours and hours and hours. I don't want to make this a 4-hour live YouTube cast. Everyone will get mad, but no, I appreciate you coming on, John. We'll do it again, definitely. Maybe if we get a drop our hats that are going to come out hopefully next week, maybe with Hat Club, and we can elaborate a little bit more on what's going on and maybe do some showing of what has been completed on these first runs so that people can see what's done and kind of give a sneak peek of it before everybody else sees it, before Hat Club puts it out there.
Yeah, sounds good to me, man. And thanks for everyone sticking around, listening to us ramble on.
Yeah, it was a lot of rambling, an hour and 15 minutes, but
I know it went by quick though.
It did, but we can seriously do this.
Yeah.
And we talk occasionally, and I try not to keep everybody on on the phone. But yeah, this is a little bit different. So, but yeah, I appreciate it, man. Is there anything you want to wrap up with before we cut out?
No, man, just follow us both and just, be on the lookout for some more art from both me and Dank, and some collabs hopefully coming up. And, just reach out if you guys need any help or you want some critiques or whatever, and keep doing your thing, Dank.
Yeah, you too, John. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening, everybody who's been on and stayed on for over an hour that we've been on here. I appreciate everybody that's subscribed and spread the word. If I can get more subscribers, I can get different guests and different people that want to be on here. So yeah, definitely spread the word. And as always, don't quote me, boy, because I ain't said shit. Have a good one.